This is me reacting to a Crist, a Christian comedian, kind of roasting a virtual reality worship service in VR chat. I'm reacting to it because I'm the pastor who oversees this ministry at my church. I've been the online community pastor at Saddleback Church for 10 plus years. And I got sent this from a friend, a fellow online pastor at a big church in our area. He DM'd me on Instagram. He said, "Hey, did you see that John talked about your virtual reality worship service?" And I hadn't. John is obviously, he's a funny dude. I actually saw him at the Irvine Improv not too long ago. And so he jokes about our virtual reality worship service. And I think what he does is what a lot of people do, is that you kind of like think it's a joke. And then as you watch it more, you're like, oh, there's something cool about this. And I'm not sure what to think. And I think it's a very honest video. It's a very short video. And I think it gets to the point. We had a member volunteer of ours who attended our church, builds VR chat venues as kind of a job. And he came to us and he said, "Hey, can I build this for free and do church? VR chat's a very toxic place. I spend a lot of time in there and I want to bring Jesus into the space." It's really cool heart and love for the community. And I was like, let's go, let's figure it out. And so we started doing it, and he's reacting to an ad my volunteer set up. My volunteer loves this. He has the resources, and he created his own ad by himself, and he's reacting to this, an ad somebody saw on his team. And so let's watch this together.
This is it's a VR church.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah,
and everyone has an avatar, and they're in church, and there's it's a fake world, but there's a real,
it's like a digital sanctuary.
Yeah, it's the digital sanctuary, and there's a real pastor on the screen.
So this is the craziest thing, is that in VR chat, what we actually do every week is at 11 a.m. Pacific time on Sunday, we have a real built out digital space where people come in full avatar. You move around in 360 degrees. We welcome people. We talk before. Then we watch a service that's about an hour long with a welcome, music, a message, and a close, and a host, somebody like me or my volunteer Park Sua is his name. We will welcome and close at the end. And so you actually sit in VR for 1 hour and people come. We have, anywhere between 30, 40 people. And so it is digital, but it is like a church experience because it's the full hour, and you're interacting, and we're launching a small group during the week in this. And we have a Discord channel where people interact, and he has hosts serving, and he has people blocking people that want to be inappropriate. I mean, it really is a church experience. And so if you don't understand it, you might go, "Oh, no, this isn't," but it's an hour. It's not too dissimilar to what you might do. And so it's totally strange, but it is church because people are worshiping in this space.
Yeah, he's delivering a real message.
Right.
Okay, and then in this VR situation, the guy's just walking around the church, and there's a bunch of people that have built their own VR. Where they built their own avatar.
Right.
Yeah.
So the avatar thing is really interesting because people do. That's probably the most jarring part about a VR chat experience, is that you can have your own skin, and people have multiple skins. You can have skins that are very tiny. Like I could be talking to you eye to eye, and then the skin can actually, you could shrink yourself down to the size of a turtle, or you can get 40 feet high, or you can have something that is totally random, or even, unfortunately too, you can have overtly sexual skins because people have freedom in this space. There's not a lot of moderation. And so it's very jarring to see, you could be talking to a skin that is clearly a female skin, but the voice is a male. And so people very much express themselves to the degree that they feel comfortable with, and people feel very comfortable in this space. And so this is why they talk about VR chat as a very toxic, and just, it's a place that is really jarring to the church. This is why my volunteer wanted to bring a church service into this space. He wanted to bring Jesus into this space because these people aren't necessarily going to church. I was in the worship service this past Sunday, and I'm sitting there in the middle of the rows or the pews or whatever. And the person in front of me, I think that they were trolling, meaning they were trying to bug people, but he was sitting there and all of a sudden he changed his skin and he was Jesus. He was like a cartoon version of Jesus. And he turned around and actually looked at me. And so and sometimes you can block people. And so you can kick people out if they're being inappropriate. And so sometimes you have to do that too. But it's crazy. It's crazy, all the skins and stuff. And you'll see it in this video.
Naruto is in the front row.
It's just all
There
of
he is.
their all of their anime.
So this character here in the front row is Rutu is his name. He's a very popular anime character. I did not know this, but I heard from multiple people. I guess some of this went a little viral on TikTok. And so I was getting messages from other people that even Rutu can come to Jesus. And I had to learn about this. And so I didn't know, but yeah, this is one of those examples. You can actually see I'm in the front row.
Anime characters.
Yeah. And
so that's me in the front row with like the mustache and everything. I have like a default random avatar. You can kind of hit randomize and they give you different avatars on VR chats, like home screen. And you can see above is my photo blurred out because of the pixelization of this. But I actually have my full name and a photo of myself. Most people don't. They have hidden photos and profiles. I'm trying to, if you actually go to my profile in VR chat, I'm like Pastor Jay Cranda, and I want people to talk to me about stuff that's going on. But yeah, it's wild. People come sit next to you, and again, audio spatial. So if somebody sit next to you and they talk to you, it's like they're like in your left ear or in your right ear. It's crazy.
it's everybody's anime character. This is a fake church. It says Saddleback Church VR is booming. That's in California. In just under 3 months, we've reached full capacity.
Saddleback's huge.
Looks like there's room in there.
There's definitely room.
And also it's not real.
This was when the VR churches first started. That was your point. Was like, what do you mean you've reached capacity? It's the internet.
There's no capacity. Yeah.
Just make the church bigger.
Yeah, make the building bigger.
Type a few lines of code and the walls expand.
Make the seats a little, yeah.
You can just
sold out.
Make it big. Yeah, sold out.
Sold
Sorry.
out. Church is sold out. Dude,
come back at 11.
Dude, imagine you're getting rejected from VR church.
Because you're late.
Hey, no room.
Yeah, sorry.
No room.
Yeah.
This is fake church.
Hey.
So this is so good because it's hilarious to hear how they're reacting, because it's true. It's technically true. You can just expand things. The hard part is in VR church is that it's all bandwidth. So when you have 40 people live, 3D present, it takes a lot of data. And so there are bandwidth restrictions. This is why everything on the internet right now, like a lot of this comes down to processing chips. This is like why you have chip companies going over, getting in the top 3 most expensive kind of market cap companies, because there's only so much data processing you can do in the cloud, on a server far away or even localized. And so it takes a lot of data to have a fully VR space along with 40 active people in VR representative talking to each other. Data processing is hard. And so VR chat puts limits on how many people can be in a room until you have to spin up another instance. So you can't actually have, 100 people in a VR chat world. You only can have like 40 or something until you spin up another instant. And so it's almost like you'll have a parallel like universe of an experience. And so, but it's technically true. We're getting there, but some of these spaces are still being figured out. And so VR chat is still growing, and we're still figuring out how to do virtual reality. And so how to have simultaneous experiences. And it's hard. It takes a lot of data, a lot of processing. Chips need to be faster, all that. And so, but it's funny because it's true. You can technically just add some code, but some of the commercial products are not just there, but it's a fair point. But it's funny how they make that point.
People from all walks of life with diverse appearances. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's a tiger.
Yeah. That's a Teletubby. Yeah. All walks of life with diverse appearances and styles come together to celebrate, sing, and worship, experience unity without uniformity. Well, it's not that. I'll tell you that. Let's scroll down a couple of some of the comments.
Sure.
I mean, I'm glad.
So the comments on his ad that my volunteer ran were wild. And I actually had to like kind of coach him because he's not he's not in the church space. And as somebody who's been doing, digital ministry for 10 plus years, I'm one of the I was one of the early online pastors to ever get hired, and one of the longest running online pastors. I've seen the waves of how the average church leader reacts to this. And you have a lot of good, but you have a lot of negative, because people are trying to preserve, their experience, and anything different than what they're used to is heresy. And so he was this Christian dude trying to reach people. And he was just getting a lot of negative comments and DMs, and it really bummed him out, actually. And I told him, I said, hey, you got to ignore that. A lot of church leaders are trying to hold on to a certain experience. And so, like, for example, the exaggeration, when the US is changing and we're losing certain things, they're worried about this thing that they know, that they understand. They don't want too much to change, And so, like, when you're reaching people in this space, I try to tell people, like, hey, this is evangelism. It's not going to compete with what you're doing. But the average church leader has a hard time processing that, because they just know this thing that they do in a building, and this is totally outside their box. But it's hurtful when you have this very negative response where he's just trying to reach people, and church leaders just want to attack him and call him all sorts of names. But the comments were wild, and I've spent time reading some of the comments too, and he engages in them, and they're pretty funny.
Glad Naruto found Jesus. Who's Naruto?
I don't know.
Is he from something?
Yeah, I think Naruto is the
Naruto.
anime,
Yeah, he's a popular anime character.
I'm not into it. I don't know.
This is beautiful and hilarious at the same time. I want to attend.
I love that comment. I feel that resonates with me.
It's beautiful and hilarious.
Beautiful and hilarious.
Yeah.
It's also like,
I love that comment too. It's because it is true. It's, even as somebody who, I don't live in VR chat. I've been using virtual reality for, many years now. But it's not something I use. I don't game. I'm not in those communities, but like, when you get in there and you're like having pastoral care moments in VR, and you're talking to people and you see people worshiping and singing, and you're like, this is beautiful and hilarious at the same time. And it's because there's this idea of like, this is very normal to some people. And I think I always make the joke, like, I think this is why God doesn't let us live more than 80, 100 years, because we can't deal with that much change. And we always want to keep our way that we're used to, and we don't want it to change. And people will in the future. They are now, and I think it will become more normative. They will just interact in certain ways like this. It probably won't be as cartoonish. It probably will be more photorealistic. But this is the idea, is that some people said that I would never put my credit card online, when PayPal's and all these things came out online, or, I'll never, all sorts of things. And then what happens is, as that becomes more normative and easy, then you do it. I'll never be on social media. So many people said that. And then you get it because you connect with your kids or whatever, or, and every new technology, this is what happens, right? Like, I'll never get on an airplane. And then you watch airplanes and they become safe and so forth. And then you do it. And so you might be watching this going, this is silly. I would never do that. And I would say, maybe, but you don't know the future. And I think there are a lot of younger generations that are getting more used to this type of experience. I watch it with my own kids. Even like, this has been a huge shift in gaming. When I grew up, you gamed, and that was like a separate thing. Because I was born in the late 80s, like right when I got into college, like Xbox Live became popular. What's interesting now is I watch my three kids. I have a 13, 11, and a 7-year-old. And they game on Roblox, Minecraft, Fortnite. Not so much to game. I mean, that's definitely what they do, but it's how they hang out with people. It's like a social thing. And that wasn't a thing for me. So I'm not a gamer, but my kids aren't really gamers, because they really game just to hang out with their friends. And so gaming is becoming more of a social thing. And I think VR is one of those things that you might go, I would never do that, but you might do it in the future just to hang out with your friends, and you're not thinking you're doing it. The same way as a personal computer. Why would I ever buy a personal computer in the 80s? Well, now you have your phone, because you don't understand the problems that it's going to solve just yet. And so before you I would never, I don't know, take a deep breath. Maybe in 10 years from now, you won't realize that, oh, wow, like my version of Zoom that I do is actually VR, and I'm not even realizing it's VR. And so I love, it's hard to guess where things are going, but yeah.
If the sound was on, you'd be able to hear, like, how in VR world
they can talk.
They have proximity mics, so when you get close to them, you can hear them, and then when you get further away, you lose them.
Yeah,
and as he's panning around the room, you're hearing people singing.
Yeah, Not well.
Not well at
Not
all.
well at all.
I love.
This is totally true, and it's totally cool. It was one of the first times where I was like, God is moving in this space. Like, God is clearly moving in this space. You'll be sitting there, audio, spatial audio. So if someone sings over here, you hear it over here, over here, and everybody's singing the worship song. And it's so cool. It really was an emotional experience to hear everybody sing. And it's really cool. And so this is why when people, this got picked up because he's popular, and there's a couple, like, I would just say, lack of a better word, trash people on the internet that just have full-time jobs where they get paid to tear down the church. And, they're criticizing this, that this isn't church or whatever. And I'm just, it's like it's this legalistic ivory tower, like, criticizing something that they just do not understand. And if you were to come on a Sunday and hear everybody sing, you would be moved, unless you have a hardened heart. But it's really cool, and it's one of the cooler parts of this, just to see how God is moving in these spaces, hearing everybody worship. And it's not good. It's not good. I'm not good at singing too, and so because it's just you singing, you know what I mean. And you tend to be more comfortable, right? Because you're in this VR experience, and you don't realize other people can hear you. So maybe sometimes there's a little bit more confidence to sing. And I think that's a good thing.
I love it.
I mean, keep scrolling down. Yeah. Most ironic church in VR. We got furries in the house of God. Naruto up front with his hands up. This is so unbelievably funny. Imagine showing this to the church back in the 1800s. Wait, Alex. Look,
This is good.
Are we going to be on the wrong side of this? We can't, right?
I mean, look,
In the future,
I think it's beautiful and funny. I think it's
we're
both.
not going to be on the wrong side of this.
I'm on
are
both
we?
sides.
Are we? Yeah, we're on both sides. This is
I love that. I love that honest submission at the end, that we could be on the wrong side of this. And that's how I feel about it. I feel that I would tell anybody, like, I don't believe the in-person experience is going anywhere. I think we are both, body and soul. And so the idea is that that's how we do church. The illustration of marriage, like my wife and I, we are married to each other. We interact digitally throughout our day with texting and all sorts, but we come home to each other for a reason. And, but I don't want to discredit how we connect digitally while also discrediting how we connect physically. And so I think we will have more experiences like this. And I do think it's an expression of church. And I think God is moving in these spaces. And I think some people are so quick to criticize what happens digitally because they're trying to hold on. Like they put God into this box thinking God can only work this way. And I would say you can hold on to the best expression of what church is, but also understand that God is moving and working and the church is happening in different ways. And especially, we don't know what this will be like in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. The same way as many people said, I would never go on the internet, and then boom, happens today. And so the same people that say, you can't connect virtually, but they're also creating YouTube videos and tweeting out things, and they're connecting and building audiences online and having communities online. I think that's ironic. And so I love what's going on in VR chat. You're more than welcome on a Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Pacific. Join our VR chat worship service. Just go to VR chat, search Saddleback Church. Thanks, John, for lightly roasting what we're doing. And I hope a couple more pods pick this up.